We had just come to the last part of the sadhanas as described in the Sutras of Narada. NaradaBhaktiSutra is a very practical work. Unlike the Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, where a lot of philosophy, logic and discussion, especially based upon the principles of Mimamsa philosophy, are brought in, Narada straight away plunges into the sadhana aspect of Bhakti Yoga. The work from the beginning to the end deals more or less directly with the various aspects of Bhakti Yoga sadhana. Tasyaha sadhanani gayanti acharyaha. This is how he has started the description of the sadhanas. The various acharyas, great teachers of bhakti, have given these teachings. They are highly ecstatic, in ecstatic mood. They have practically sung these teachings. Gayanti acharyaha. So in that series, we had come up to the Sutra, Yo viviktasthanam sevate, Yo lokabandham unmulayati, Nistrayagunyo bhavati, Yogakshemam tyajati. Viviktasthana is a lonely place. Even the Shvetashvatara Upanishad advises the sadhaka to find out a suitable place which is without any disturbance, where people do not normally come and disturb you. So that is something which is recommended by all the teachers of bhakti. However, Sri Ramakrishna gives us a warning here. Before retiring to a lonely place for sadhana, one must have some preliminary preparations. One must be able to stand that silence and that loneliness. So, the tyros in the spiritual path should not attempt to go to lonely places. Of course, alternatively, if there are 2 or 3 sadhakas, they join together, they want to spend some time in a place like that, they are welcome. Then second aspect of this sutra is Yo lokabandham unmulayati. Yes, it is very easy to go to a lonely place for practicing meditation and japa. But what about the mind? Once one of our junior monastic members was fretting and fuming, and he wanted a change, transfer. Then Revered Yatishwaranji Maharaj told him, wherever you go, you carry your mind with you. Remember that. So with such a mind, you are not going to get peace of mind. That is why Narada is advising us, Loka bandham unmulayati. Before we retire to a lonely place, we must be able to remove from our mind all attachments to the things of the world. In the Advaitic mode of sadhana, Viveka and Vairagya go together. Viveka tells you what is permanent and what is not permanent, and that leads to Vairagya. Similarly, here also, if we really want to think of God in an undisturbed state of mind, we must be able to remove all the internal attachments in our mind. lokabandham unmulayati. Nistrayagunyo bhavati. One has to transcend the effects of the three gunas, especially rajas and tamas, by increasing sattva guna. Yogakshemam tyajati. Yogakshema is a technical word. Bhagavan Shankara defines it as yoga and kshema, getting something which we don't have, and protecting something which we already have. In other words, we are very much worried about protecting the things which are in our control and trying to acquire things which we don't have, which we want to get. This naturally disturbs the mind, so Narada is telling Yogakshemam Tyajati. Don't bother about all these things, the Lord is there to take care of you. When Vishwambhara, the Lord who is protecting the whole world, sustaining the whole world is there, why should a devotee of Vishnu bother about getting things and getting rid of things? That is how one of the shlokas on the Puranas runs. Then, yaha karma phalam tyajati karmani sanyasyati tato nirdvandvo bhavati. People who are actively engaged in the world, they have to perform their duties, discharge their responsibilities. So, basing upon the teachings given by the Lord in the Gita, Narada is advising the sadhaka, yaha karma phalam tyajati karmani sanyasyati. There are three types of karma. The first one is papa karma, nishiddha karma, that has to be given up. There is absolutely no doubt about that. The second type of karma is kamya karma. You have some desires in your mind, in your heart. To fulfill them, the scripture has given certain directions, you perform them. For instance, nowadays, Satyanarayana Puja has become very common. It is done mostly for the sake of getting something which people don't have. It's a kamya karma. So nishiddha karma should be given up, kamya karma also should be given up. But there is the third, nitya karma, obligatory duties and responsibilities. They cannot be given up. So there, karma phalam tyajati. You do it in order to please the Lord as a matter of duty, but don't aspire for the fruits and results. The moment the desire comes, you are bound. As a result of this, giving up evil karma, performing the duties and responsibilities in the proper manner, you become nirdvandva. You go beyond the dualities of life, sukha, dukkha and so on. Tato nirdvandvo bhavati. Yo vedanapi sanyasyati kevalam avichinna anuragam labhate. When the question comes, what about the Vedas? Vedas are the most sacred books. They are the fundamental scriptures of our religion. We are expected to do swadhyaya and pravachana, study the Vedas, absorb the teachings into our own life, and also propagate the teachings, give it to others. But here Narada is telling us, Yo Vedan api sanyasyati, who gives up, renounces even the Vedas. Here we have to be a little careful. What does giving up the Vedas mean? You give up only the kamya karma part of it. Many of the yajnas and yagas are desire motivated. So don't perform those actions prescribed by the Vedas for the fulfillment of your desires and ambitions, because they are going to bind you. But those duties and responsibilities are aspects of sadhana which the Vedas give, which are going to help you to improve your inner life improve your spiritual power, you have to do them. Sri Ramakrishna has illustrated this with a nice example. A boy from a village has come to the Calcutta city, is studying there, and one day he is about to go to his college for examination. He is extremely busy. Suddenly the postman comes and gives him a letter. Just glances at it. It is a letter which he has received from his mother. Because he was in a hurry, he just keeps it away. He goes to the examination. After coming back in the evening, he remembers the letter. He doesn't know where he has kept it because he was hurrying. And he goes on searching and searching. After searching for about half an hour, he gets the letter. He reads it. The mother has asked him, "You are coming from a big city. We don't get many things here in this small village. Therefore you get me 1 kilogram of sugar candy and 3 meters of good silk cloth." So after reading this, he throws away the letter, goes to the market and purchases those things. Sri Ramakrishna says, as long as he did not know what the letter contained, he searched for it. Once he came to know what it contained, there was no need for the letter. In the same way, you go through the scriptures in order to know what is the aim of our life, how to achieve that, the modern method of sadhana. Once it is clear in your mind, there is no need for the scripture. Of course, sometimes we need the help of the scripture, which Narada also stresses. Nishchaya dardhyat urdhvam api shastra rakshanam. In one of the sutras he says, even after devotion gets well established, we need the help of the shastras just to tally our experiences with what the rishis have said. Sometimes doubts come. In order to clear the doubts, we refer to the Shruti or the scriptures. So one who does like this, follows the various disciplines given by Narada in this series of sutras, he becomes fit to cross over the ocean of Maya. Kastarati Mayam, that was how it was begun. Who can cross over Maya? Satarati salokans tarayati. One who has followed all these disciplines, has purified his mind, has reached the final goal of life, he is able to cross over Maya, transcend it. He also helps other people to cross over Maya. Tarayati, lokan tarayati. Again, a nice story given by Sri Ramakrishna comes to our mind. In one place, Sri Ramakrishna says, a yogi is immersed deeply in nirvikalpa samadhi. For 21 days he is in that state. After that he gives up the body because he has reached the final goal of his life. But there are a few, though their number may be very small. They keep a little of ignorance or egoism or whatever it is, Maya, come back to the normal plane of consciousness in order to help others also to cross over the ocean of Maya. And this he illustrates by another example. 4 friends were going for a walk. So one day they went a little outside the town. They found that there is a high wall, and from inside the wall they were hearing beautiful music. So one of them said, "Let me see what is there on the other side." With great difficulty he climbed over the wall, looked at the other side, and exclaiming, "Ha!" he jumped there, did not come back. So this happened to the second person, this happened to the third person also. The fourth one controlled himself. He remembered the members of his family, other people in his village. This is such a beautiful place, nice pleasure garden. But the people in my place, they do not know. If I go and tell them and bring them how nice it will be, he comes back. The great people, sadhus and sannyasins, other jivanmukta purushas, who come back to the normal plane of consciousness to lead the others, they are even more great, we can say, than the others. The first group was interested only in itself. The second group was interested in serving the world also. Vasantavat lokahitam charantaha. This is how Viveka Chudamani describes such people. Just like the spring season, they are interested in serving the world. They deny their own personal liberation, come back to the world and lead others. They have actually transcended all karma, but still they are prepared to live in the world like other people, but not of the world. They can raise their minds above the ordinary worldly experiences and then show them the way. Yadyada charati shresthaha tattadevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastatanuvartate. This is how Lord Krishna says in the Gita. They are shreshthas, great leaders of the society. They set a standard before the ordinary people of the world by their life and example. Finally, Narada gives us the characteristics, the typical characteristics of a devotee who has reached the final goal of life. Parama Bhakta, who has attained Parabhakti. In the beginning of his commentary on the Sthita Prajna Lakshana portion of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shankara has given a very interesting idea. He says, here the Lord has described the Lakshanas of the Jivan Mukta, the characteristics of a man of liberation or one who is liberated even in this life in great detail. Why? He puts the question. Then he himself answers. There are many qualities which are seen in the Jivan Mukta Purusha as a natural characteristic, a natural quality. By describing them in detail, the Lord wants us, the ordinary sadhakas, to recognize these qualities as modes of sadhana and then practice. The Jivan Mukta doesn't have any anger. There is absolutely no question of getting angry with others, because he sees the same Lord who is in his heart, in the hearts of other people. Or from the standpoint of Advaita, Sarvatma Bhava is there, the self that is in him, he sees in others. So there is no question of getting angry with others. Ramanuja in his Bhashya in one place makes fun of the Advaitins, of course. He says nobody who is standing in front of a mirror will quarrel with the image that is reflected in the mirror, because he knows it is himself. So if Krishna had seen Arjuna as himself, how could he have taught him all the Bhagavad Gita? Anyhow, we are not interested in such controversies, but what is to be noted here is, standing in front of the mirror we see our own image. Like that, if we are able to see our own dear self in everybody, there is no question of getting angry with others, quarreling with others, becoming jealous of others and so on. Similarly, there are other qualities also. Indriya Nigraha, for instance, controlling the sense organs. There is no need for the Jivan Mukta to make any effort to control the sense organs, because his mind is always living in the bliss of the Atman. It never goes towards the objects of senses. It is very natural to him. But when we see that, we should learn, yes, we should avoid the bhogavastus. We should try to withdraw the mind and direct it towards the self within. So the characteristics of the perfect man become modes of sadhana for the sadhaka. So that is the burden of Shankara's commentary on the Gita. Narada now gives us quite a few such characteristics. Sadarpita akhila acharata tad vismarane parama vyakulata iti. There the topic is, suppose a person has developed intense devotion inside. How does it get manifested outside? How can I know that this person has got parabhakti or divine love in his heart? That is the question. Then he quotes a number of rishis who preceded him, like Shandilya and others, Vyasa and others. Each one gives his own definition. If he is interested in puja of the Lord, if he is interested in repeating the divine name and so on and so forth. But ultimately Narada says, this is the best definition I can give. Tadarpita akhila acharata tad vismarane parama vyakulata iti. How do you know that a person has got parabhakti or intense devotion to the Lord? Now, he has offered all his actions, thoughts, words and deeds at the feet of the Lord. Tadarpita akhila acharata. One can clearly see that at every step and every stage he is full of God consciousness. Everything is offered at the feet of the Lord. And on the negative side, tad vismarane parama vyakulata iti. He never forgets the Lord. But suppose for argument's sake, somehow, for a moment he forgets the Lord. Immediately he becomes aware of that, feels intensely sorry. What is it that I have done? So this is the characteristic according to Narada, and afterwards he gives the example. Yatha vrajagopikanam. This type of akhila acharata arpana and then vismarana parama vyakulata, whatever he has given here, is found in the gopis of Vrindavan. Their attachment to Sri Krishna was such that everything was for the sake of the Lord, their Lord. And they felt intense pangs of separation when Sri Krishna was not there. I think I have told this story earlier. Probably it is better to remember now in this context. The Ashtamahishis of Lord Krishna became puffed up with pride. They thought that they loved Lord Krishna above everything else. Krishna came to know the Antaryamin, so he wanted to teach them a lesson. So suddenly he lay down in the palace saying that he had a very bad headache. Then Narada came to him, what is the matter? Oh, I am suffering from headache. Then the doctors were brought, nothing happened. All the 8 queens also came. Nobody knew how to cure his disease. Finally, Narada came to him in private and asked him, you are Sarvagya Sarvashakta, you please tell me what is it that I can do to give you relief. Then Krishna said, yes, there is one remedy. The dust of the feet of my greatest devotee, if that is taken and put on my forehead, I will be relieved of this. You go and ask all the Ashtamahishis. So when Narada went and asked them, they were shocked. What is this? The dust of our feet to be put on the forehead of our Lord? No, we will never do it. Because we will be committing the greatest sin and going to hell. So Narada came back disappointed. Then finally Krishna asked, did you go to Vrindavan and ask the gopis? He said, no, you better go and ask. So he went to Vrindavan, and all the gopis gathered round him. How is our Krishna? How is our Krishna? Has he forgotten us? He was all right till yesterday night, but this morning he lay down telling that he had a severe headache. And what can we do? So he says, this is the remedy. Immediately all of them stretched their feet. You take as much dust as you like. Then Narada scolded them, what is it you do not know? He is the Lord himself. By putting the dust of your feet on his forehead, you will be going to hell. Then all of them shouted, let him become all right first. All other things can be discussed later on. So this is the story. But the burden of the story is tadarpita akhila acharata tadvismarane parma vyakulata. That is the highest type of love or devotion towards the Lord. Then he has given other characteristics. Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati amruto bhavati tripto bhavati. In this world our heart is empty. We want something to fill it up. We run towards all the pleasurable objects of the world, and after some time we find they are not going to satisfy us. Temporarily we feel satisfied, then problems will begin. But there is one thing by getting which there is absolutely no need to get anything else. That is the supreme love of the Lord, Parabhakti. Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati. He becomes a kritakritya after getting it. Whatever is to be got in life, he has got. No more desire exists in his mind. And he becomes amrita. Internally, he is enjoying the divine love, even as one enjoys the amrita or nectar. And externally, he has become immortal. Not that he becomes immortal in the physical body, but there will be no rebirth. Once he gives up this bondage of this body, he lives in eternity. Tripto bhavati. There is absolute contentment in him. In fact, this type of contentment, or the feeling that what has to be done in life has been done, is something very, very deep and has to be felt only in the heart. Only great saints can explain these things by their experience. Similarly, yat prapya na kinchit vanchati, na shochati, na dveshti, na ramate, na utsahi bhavati. After getting the supreme love of God, which is God realization, parabhakti, na kinchit vanchati, he doesn't want anything else. Tasmin stushte jagat tushtam. The Lord is pleased, the whole world is pleased. The Lord is everything. Once we feel the presence of the Lord within, everything is done. Therefore, na shochati, he doesn't grieve. Why do we become unhappy? We want something, we don't get it. Suppose what we want has been obtained and that is permanent and always with us, why should we feel sorry? So that is the experience of this Jivan Mukta. He has obtained what is needed to be obtained in life, therefore there is no shoka. There is no dvesha. I want something, I don't get it because XYZ is preventing me from getting it. So I get angry with him. That is how Shankara defines anger, krodha, in the Bhagavad Gita. Kama is there, somebody prevents your kama from being fulfilled, then krodha arises in the mind. Here also, not dveshti, he doesn't hate anybody because there is no question of hating anyone, he sees himself in others. Na ramate, he doesn't want to enjoy the good things of life, or all are temporary. He finds the enjoyment or happiness in himself. Now utsahi bhavati. He is not interested in working for getting what he wants. Utsaha is enthusiasm to work. Yat jnatva matto bhavati stabdho bhavati atmaramo bhavati. The bee sits on a flower. It sucks the honey. It goes to other flowers. Finally it comes to a big, well-bloomed lotus flower. There it sits, goes on sucking and sucking, and it becomes completely overwhelmed by the honey it drinks. And it practically falls down unconscious. That is the example that is normally given. Of course, there is also a second part of the story. Then in the evening when sun sets, then the lotus closes and the bee dies within. One should be very careful in enjoying the good things of life. So here, after having known the divine love or experienced it, he becomes intoxicated with that. You find in Sri Ramakrishna's life, so many times a day he used to go to Samadhi, listening to some discourse, somebody talking about the divine, or listening to some music, or even just a wave of thought. It could throw him into Samadhi. Stabdho bhavati. So when this person becomes intoxicated, he becomes absolutely motionless. When Sri Ramakrishna was in Samadhi, doctors have examined him, no pulse, no heartbeat, no breathing. We read it in the Gospel itself. Then somebody said, oh, he is dead. Other devotees told him, wait for some time. So afterwards, 15 minutes or half an hour, he came back to normal plane of consciousness. So then the news spread, there is one Paramahamsa in Dakshineshwar, he dies many number of times a day. He dies and comes back to life. So stabdho bhavati, atmaramo bhavati. He finds his enjoyment, his pleasure, his happiness only in himself. He doesn't need an object outside himself for his particular happiness. Na tat siddhau loka vyavaharo heyaha kintu phalatyagaha tat sadhanancha karyam eva. Narada is very particular to point out the need for a Jivan Mukta Purusha to be active in life, to set an example to others. Tat siddhau, he has obtained what he wants in life, parabhakti, God realization. Does it mean that he would give up all the activities of life? No. Loka vyavaharo na heyaha. Loka vyavahara, the activities, performance of duties and responsibilities in life must not be given up. Lord Krishna gives a warning in the Bhagavad Gita. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varte evacha karmani. In all the three worlds there is nothing for me to get or to get rid of. Still I engage myself continuously in action. Because if I don't, other unenlightened people, ignorant people will imitate me and they come to grief. The whole world will be thrown into disorder. For instance, at home, the little children look at the parents. In the school, they look at the teacher. In public life, we look at the great leaders. Whatever they do, we try to imitate them. Yatha raja tatha prajaha. Keeping this in mind, they used to be very, very careful in their personal life. So rajas were not ordinary rajas, they were rajarshis actually. A combination of rajatva and rishitva. That is how a Jivan Mukta or a perfect devotee acts in this world. He does not give up the activities of life, his duties and responsibilities, continues to perform them, but internally He is completely detached. Let us say, the previous evening, one farmer was walking back towards his house. It was evening, just sunset time. On the road, he sees a snake. Immediately, he cannot cross the road because he is afraid of it. He goes back to his field, brings 2-3 persons with him, with a stick and a light also, lamp. After coming near, he sees it's only a piece of rope. He laughs at it and goes away. Next day he is coming by the same rope. But when he sees the rope as the snake, he is not afraid. He remembers, this is the rope that is still lying there, and it doesn't harm me, it cannot harm me. He laughs and goes away. In the beginning, because of ajnana or ignorance, there was reaction, there was fear. Now, because of jnana, there is no reaction, no fear. He laughs at it and goes. In the same way, as far as the Jivan Mukta is concerned, the world which is a product of Maya continues. The same sun, the same moon, the same trees, same forest, same people, everything is continues in his experience. But the reaction to the various situations in life, they differ. Therefore, as long as he lives in the world, loka vyavahara is not given up. But how does he act and show to others? Kintu phalatyagaha tat sadhanancha karyam eva. He must perform actions. The actions do give their fruits and results, but he is not interested in them. He has done his duties, there the whole matter ends. People who are attached to the fruits and results, it is they who come to grief, because if something goes wrong there, they get upset. Then in another sutra, he describes how a few devotees of the Lord, if they gather together in one place, how do they act and react? Gantavarodha romancha ashrubhihi parasparam lapamanaha pavayanti kulani prithivīncha. Sri Ramakrishna is an expert in describing all these things. He says, one fellow is sitting there. He is addicted to ganja. And some very rich man comes, a king comes, he doesn't care whether he is a king or a rich person. But when another person who is also addicted to ganja comes, he is very happy. He invites him, makes him sit by his side, he shares with him what he has got. So great devotees of the Lord are also like that. Once they meet in one place, what do? Kantha avarodha. They try to speak about the Lord, the greatness of the Lord, love of the Lord, but they cannot. They are overcome by emotions. Which type of emotion? Romancha ashrubhihi, horripilation, and then shedding tears of joy. They are unable to speak. And if they speak, parasparam lapamanaha, they try to exchange their experiences. How they were able to get a vision of the Lord, or what instructions they received in their spiritual states. Such people, pavayanti kulani prithivīncha. They purify not only their own families, but the whole world. About 15 years back, one of the well-known neurosurgeons of Bangalore brought one gentleman with a number of slides, and we had the slide show for our Balak Sangha boys. There, one very interesting thing was shown. There is one Kirlian photographic machine. It is there in the Nimhans even now. So this photograph was taken there. First of all, you put your finger, it takes a photo. There is something like an aura round the finger. Now this aura can change its color, shape, brightness, intensity. So that was shown. A person has put his finger in the ordinary state of consciousness. Then he was made to sit, repeat Omkara and meditate upon his God for 15-20 minutes, pray to him. After that, when the same finger, the photograph was taken in the machine, it was much brighter and much bigger. So both the slides were shown. So that means that when a person has become spiritualized in the true sense of the term, his vibrations are coming out, they are very powerful, and in the presence of those vibrations, the minds of other people are also elevated to higher levels. Quite often we feel that when we are in the company of very great people, automatically the mind attains peace, joy, concentration. All those who went to Ramana Maharshi, invariably they had this experience and they used to tell us. One of our Swamis, who is now almost 88 years old, he is living somewhere in Kerala. Before his joining the monastic order, he went to Ramana Maharshi to see him, to seek his blessings, telling him that he was going to join the Ramakrishna order. Ramana Maharshi knew our Tyagishanji very well and they had very fine relationship. He had gone there with 9 questions in his mind. Went and sat in front of him. About 4 or 5 others were there. All of them were sitting in meditation silently. This Swami, of course he was not yet a Swami at the time, he also sat there in meditation for about half an hour. He told me personally, wonderful thing happened. One by one, the questions came up in his mind along with the answers. The question and the answer, the question and the answer. After half an hour, he found that all the 9 questions had been completely answered, and strangely enough, Ramana Maharshi was looking at him smiling. So this is how the great people act. Even without any direct contact, their minds can act on the minds of others. Pavayanti kulani prithivincha. Similarly, tirthi kurvanti tirthani, sukarmi kurvanti karmani, sachastri kurvanti shastrani. If they go to a place of pilgrimage, they go not because they are interested in purifying themselves, but their very presence purifies the tirtha there, the holy place. When Bhagiratha wanted to bring Ganga to this earth, Mother Ganga told him, that is all right, you are taking me there, I have to go, but I have got a great fear in my mind. Now in this Martyaloka world of the human beings, all types of sinners will come, they bathe in me, they leave their sins in me and go away purified. Then what will happen to me? Then Bhagiratha replies, don't worry, the saints and sages will come. When they come and touch the water with their body, you are automatically purified. They are so pure, they can impart their purity to you. That is how Bhagavatam says, Mahabharata says about this Bhagiratha episode. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. Because they are always thinking of the Lord. They are carrying the Lord in their minds and hearts. Wherever they go, their vibrations are acting upon others. Similarly, sukarmi kurvanti karmani. If they do any action, it is for showing to the world how it should be done in a perfect manner. Sachastri kurvanti shastrani. If they interpret the Shastras, it is just to show what is the true inner meaning of the Shastra, how you have to understand it, how you have to apply it in your life, that comes through their mouth. Now in this society, We make a big fuss, great fuss about caste and other social distinctions. But Narada says, Nasti teshu jati vidya rupa kula dhana kriyadi bhedaha. Among them, there is no difference. The devotees may be of different castes. One may be a great Pandit, another may be an ignorant person. One may be very handsome, another may be very ugly. One may be coming from a family of great name and fame, a pure family, and another may be born out of sinners. And one may be rich, another may be very poor. But none of these things affect them. There is no distinction, difference among them due to jati, kula, etc. Similarly, when people come to them seeking their guidance and inspiration, they don't make any distinction. This we find in the lives of all the great people, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Ramakrishna. At the same time, Narada is also giving a warning. Ahimsa, Satya, Shaucha, Daya, Astikyadi, Charitrani, Paripalaniyani. Ahimsa, not harming others, speaking the truth, purity of body and mind, compassion towards others, faith in God, faith in the scriptures, pure character. These qualities have to be inculcated in one's own life and also taught to others. They are there as world teachers. Therefore, they practice these things in their life. They also give it to the world through their teaching, through their life. They can never be ignored or neglected. Personally, they are not interested. It is not necessary for them. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna says in one place, when a person is trying to learn dancing in the beginning, he has to do it according to the steps given in the book. First step, second step, third step. The teacher is there to correct him. Gradually, through practice, he becomes a good dancer. Later on, he becomes a perfect dancer. And in moments of inspiration, when he is dancing brilliantly, he may give some poses which are not in the textbook. Can we say that his dancing is wrong because he doesn't follow the textbook? No. He is establishing a new tradition in dancing now. New methods have been discovered and added on. So similarly, in the case of these great people also, the great people, the Jivanmukta Purushas, realized souls who come in later times, they may be giving us additional information which is not contained in the earlier scriptures. That is what we see in the case of Sri Ramakrishna, for instance. When we go through his teachings, we find that there are so many things which are probably not found in the earlier scriptures. Sri Ramakrishna himself says, this has gone beyond Vedas and Vedanta, he says. So Vedas and Vedanta have given a particular pattern of teaching. But in Sri Ramakrishna teaching we find things have gone even beyond that. God is both Saguna Sakara, Nirguna Nirakara. He is beyond both. What alone he is, he alone knows. This is how he puts it. Similarly, he says, God is like a huge mountain of sugar candy. So many ants are going and bringing small pieces of sugar candy. What about Shuka Maharshi, a great rishi and an Avadhuta? He will be bringing a little bigger piece of sugar candy, that's all. But nobody can exhaust the mountain. So God can never be known fully. You have got a glass with you, you go to a source of drinking water, a big huge tank, let us say, 2-3 glasses of drinking water are enough to quench your thirst. You need not know how much water is there in the tank. So, once we get God realization and we are satisfied, get moksha, that is enough. Why should we know about God and what about His greatness, His quality and all that? Counting the leaves, as he puts it. So we see in all these teachings that Sri Ramakrishna has practically transcended many of the old concepts given in the Shastras. Sarvada sarvabhavena nischintaihi bhagavan eva bhajaniyaha. Therefore, if you really want to become a good devotee and a great devotee, in all your moods, in all your activities, in all your thoughts and feelings, you have to think only of the Lord, and you should give up all other worries of this world. Bhagavan eva bhajaniyaha. Now Bhagavata gives a description of the Bhagavatottama. Na yasya swaha paraha iti vitteshu atmaniva bhidava sarvabhuta samaha shantaha savai Bhagavatottamaha. For a Bhagavatottama, a great devotee of the Lord, there is no question of this is me and mine that belongs to you. There is no question of me and mine or you and yours. Because he has realized his identity with the whole world, Sarvabhuta Samaha and Shantaha. Another definition is Vasudevaika Nilayaha. His mind is settled in Vasudeva. That is the only place he finds his joy and peace and happiness. Similarly, in the Gita also we find, in the 12th chapter, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karuna Evacha and so on. All these characteristics given in the Gita also can be remembered here. Santushta Satatam Yogi Yatatma Dridhanishchayaha Samashatraucha Mitrecha and so on. In other words, a Jivan Mukta Purusha, a perfect devotee, a Sthita Prajna, has transcended all the bondages of the world. Though he himself has transcended all these things, he is not interested in continuing in this world. He continues for the sake of other people. As Prahlada puts it, I don't want personal mukti for myself. Please bless me so that I can bring a little peace and joy and happiness to the souls in this world who are suffering. I am prepared to be born again and again if I can bring some relief to them. Even Swami Harshananda says in one place, I am prepared to be born even as a dog if necessary for the good of other people. So this is the characteristic of great people who have realized Sarvatma Bhava as described by the Advaita Shastras in their life. So this path of bhakti is the easiest and comparatively more easy to practice and also gives us the results more quickly. That is how Sri Ramakrishna has put it and has described it. Sometimes people say that bhakti and jnana are different, but the two have been reconciled in Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings. Parabhakti and Paramajnana are identical. Sat Chit Ananda is the truth. If you take the Ananda aspect as important and practice spiritual disciplines, it is Bhakti Yoga. If you take the Sat aspect of the Lord and practice the disciplines, it becomes Jnana Yoga. But ultimately, both the yogas meet at the same point, Sat Chit Ananda. That blissful experience can never be expressed through the words. As Narada himself says, Mukha Svadanavata. A person is enjoying, he cannot speak, but he is enjoying everything inside, the sweet, he is not able to express it. A dumb person enjoying a fruit or a sweet, he is enjoying it but cannot express it. In the same way, a Brahmajnani enjoys these things but he cannot easily express it outside. He tries to express it. That is how we have been able to get so many descriptions, but even then, none of these descriptions is perfect. Well, that is about the theory. What about the practical side? Because we know how difficult it is to practice any type of yoga for that matter, including Bhakti Yoga. So many disciplines or given their do's and don'ts. So ultimately we can say this much, depending upon what the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna have taught us. Ultimately, there are two important things in spiritual life, especially while connected with Bhakti Yoga. One is Kripa, Guru Kripa and Deva Kripa. Yasya Devi Para Bhaktihi, as the shloka in the Shvetashtra Upanishad goes, Para Bhakti, as in the God, so in the Guru also. One should cultivate that type of bhakti towards the Guru. Yasya Deve Para Bhaktihi Yatha Deve Tatha Guru. So that is one. Seeking the grace of God, grace of Guru. Second point is Nama Japa. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example. A kite is flying high in the sky, but as long as the thread is in your hand, you can pull it and the kite will come to you. So Nama Japa is the thread that is in your hand and God is the kite. So this is very simple and easy for us to practice in this life, praying for the grace of God and the Guru and repeating the divine name as much as possible. Even though we may be mechanically repeating the name, there may not be upasana or concentration on the form of the Lord, it doesn't matter. Because Nama and Nami are identical, as Sri Ramakrishna says. The name and the named one, they are intimately connected. So once you repeat the name, automatically the form also should come. So through Nama Japa and by praying for the grace of God and Guru, we can attain everything in life. We may not be feeling extraordinary experiences in our day-to-day life of our practice, it doesn't matter. But probably in some moments such experiences may come. Otherwise, at least at the last moment of our life, it should come. As Holy Mother has assured all the initiated devotees, at the last moment, either Sri Ramakrishna or the Mother or the Guru will come and take them away. So that is the essence of all the four yogas, and especially Bhakti Yoga, which is comparatively much easier to practice.